Hello, guys. Oh man, this is first time we are interacting with Dark Virus on live. All right. So this is amazing, and I'm meeting the host miner for the first time. So great meeting you.
You
And
too.
as
Pleasure to be
always,
here.
we would always have a conversation around deep in somewhere this topic sip
Hmm.
in. A lot of people have, I heard that they have left the crypto space. Come on, guys, come back in because you are going after mumbo jumbo coins. That's why this happened. So this is a learning
Degens,
lesson.
degens.
So yeah, let's start with this question. Like, what do you think about the market scenario?
Go ahead, bro. I don't.
It's interesting. In my side of the world, working with a lot of like proof of work individuals, right now, it's unique because a lot of people, believe it or not, amongst the mining community stepped in actually like December, January. Like there was this fresh wave of like new faces that came in. And I have chatted with a number of people since then, even though that was what, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, not even. And, people are getting, concerned and cold feet. And so there's a lot of like new faces coming in and it's like, wait, we've seen this before. This is nothing special. This is nothing new. This is just another dip in the market. It's really funny, you start to find like those of us that have been around for a little while, you kind of roll with the paces, you just kind of roll through it, right? And that's exactly kind of what it is right now. It's these things are to be expected, and especially just based off of the current state of the economy, inflation. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of concern within the space right now, but I think most people are confident that there'll be greener pastures on the other side of this very soon.
I was always joking about like buy high, sell low, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I'm I'm seeing that the many of these newbie investors that probably haven't gone through the cycle like what we have gone through, and I'm seeing
Hmm.
them selling. I mean, you lose when you sell. Like when was
Hmm.
the time for acquiring tokens, and if you sell, then of course, you need to back proper projects, right? Um, yeah, what's your thought on it, Doug Virus?
I mean, it's like, so we've seen these cycles before, but you have to think of it from like a newbie perspective. They don't know what the
Hmm.
hell's going on right now. They don't know, what cycle is or what's high, what's low.
Hmm.
They have no clue. So, I mean, we're trying to bring all the new money, we call it new money in and whatnot. And it's just, it's going to fluctuate. It'll always fluctuate. That's why you need to back things that are stable,
Hmm.
things that have value, like real value, not like, a shit coin, excuse my
Hmm.
terminology, a shit coin. Because I mean, I always lose anyway every time I try that, which is never. So, yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, you were commenting earlier about the fact of like, the price of these coins and these projects in the current state. And there's another YouTuber within the proof of workspace, Seb Heslow, and he always reminds people in these states, it is not the price of the coin at the time you mine it. It's the price when you sell it. And people easily forget that, especially in times like right now with the uncertainty,
Mhm.
lower prices in the red. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, profitability is down." It's like, "Yeah, but are you selling today?" And then when they go, "No," you go, "So what's the concern?" Like if you're and some of these you had alluded to there, just like newer people in the space where it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh man, this price of this coin is down by 60% right now." And it's like, "Okay, but you're not selling it today, right? So you're still yielding if you're in a program with mining, whether it's proof of work, whether it's proof of participation, you're still yielding the same, right?" Like so that those sometimes people just need a little bit of a reminder of just, "Hey, this is how the system works." You only really need to be overly concerned is when you sell, and don't sell when it's dumping like it is right now.
A couple of days back, one of my friend in Netherlands, Emil, and I we were having a conversation. You only lose money if you don't time your sell.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And he was saying, surprisingly, my dad told the same about stock market years before.
Listen to your parents, damn it. Listen to your parents. I should have listened to him.
Right? But do you think like with the deep in, like you literally when you are mining, you you're kind of thinking you as a producer rather
Mhm.
than buying somebody else's effort. Do you think that that psychologically helps you understanding when to sell this rather than when you are just actively trading? And not all of these newbies are actual traders. They're acting, yes, but they're probably not the best of the traders, right? Because they are emotions, right? Do you see that?
I mean, the thing is I'll jump in first and let Dark Virus jump in after that. Like the fact of, I think proof, like a lot of these DePIN projects, you're not when we think of mining, right? Especially from my demographic, when you think of mining, you're looking at more proof of work, right? High electric cost, burning and turning type of scenarios. When I look at DePIN and when I speak to people about DePIN too, I think more of a proof of participation or proof of coverage mentality comes, into our
Beautiful.
mindset there. And so I think a lot of things, I'll be honest, a lot of people I feel get overly concerned in that proof of work with a mining mindset because of the high electric costs. So they're a little bit more in
Mm.
tune to be like, oh man, I'm burning more, I'm burning the same amount today, but my profits are less. And so that I think that alludes to a lot of the concern when we're in a dip like we are right now versus when I speak to individuals in the deep in space. A majority of these projects, I mean, and I love projects that are in testnet. A lot of these projects that are in testnet, people aren't showing concern with like, oh no, the market's down right now because they're like, I'm in testnet. I'm not concerned about the dollar value. And I think what happens is when these projects go to mainnet and then all of a sudden that dollar value is such a massive factor. And it's like, wait, but what happened to
Mm.
that mindset before when you were just like, hey, I love to participate, I love to be involved, I love to provide use case, I'm earning testnet tokens. It's like all of a sudden, yep, the dollars come into play. So it's really funny
And
how our mindset changes.
sorry to cut you off. That
No,
should be
please.
contrary, right? That should be contrary, right? Like
Yep.
a project has gone from testnet to main, of it getting success is more higher now,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
So if you're backing as an investor or a participant, you should be backing now because you are
mhm,
seeing almost like, as you said, proof of work. Now,
mhm,
this is some sort of like that, right?
mhm,
So, do you think like Deepin also will allow a lot of newbies to jump in
mhm.
and understand that in the market cycles, beyond the market cycle, there is demand and supply and there is delivery of the project? And do you think that Deepin will eventually detach itself from this whole all or nothing market cycle?
Nerds only know what DePIN are, and they ever will. People only want to see
Mhm,
this. They don't care about, they don't care about what you do with the data or whatnot. And that's what it comes down
mhm,
to. It's like, are you an OG? Are you this? Where's your data going? It's like, but people only want to see this. They don't care
mhm,
about Web3. They don't care about the data. They just want, you know, buy a pack of cigarettes like I did earlier with some of my DPIN earnings, you know. Yes, yes. But I'm it's just I hate saying this. We're always so early. It's just because like 5 years down the road from now, we're gonna totally laugh at this conversation. It's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be hilarious for real though. But what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I do agree with you. We're always looking at dollar value. When I'm creating videos on my YouTube channel about this DePIN project or this miner, everyone's first like comment is like, all right, well, especially when a project's in testnet, and explaining of like, hey, there's no profitability to this. There's no estimate to this, and it's sometimes that's a really hard thing for people to grasp. Like, hey, there's nothing there right now. Now, I will say though, DePIN has been fantastic to allow individuals to step into the space that traditionally wouldn't. And that's what I love to see. We're like, oh, I thought about getting into proof of work mining with that massive miner that's thousands of dollars and has a massive amount of cost per month. DePIN is a great like, hey, my buddy hits me up. I want to step into crypto. Oh, well, why don't you take a look at DePIN? And here's why. And kind of moving them in that direction. One, because your initial cost and capital to get into DePIN traditionally is not very expensive. I mean, most of the projects that I talk to my audience about are under $1,000. There's very few that are over that, and so it's within that area of reason where people can go ahead and spend a few bucks in capital here and there. You're not gonna not going crazy, and speaking to testnet on getting in on these projects early to support the project. Yeah, it's great, but I do agree with you, Dark Virus. At the end of the day, people are going after the dollar value. Like they want to know, like, okay, great. And so I make sure that when I talk with people about DePIN, when I do these videos, it's like, listen, this isn't testnet. There's no guarantee. But hey, if you participate early, you could be a part of this and have a nice moon bag of it for when that project does pump.
I completely agree with you, and I have tested this with our farmers.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, when I was visualizing that we would be bringing hardware that is going to get the data from agriculture land, which is like temperature, how's the soil, how's the soil wetness, all kind
Mm-hmm.
of those data. And I thought, yeah, that's it, right? But moving forward, I thought like, okay, anyway, we are bringing in the, oh, what's that?
I burnt my pizza. Thanks a lot. That's all right.
Oh no.
Sorry. That's all right. Go ahead. So,
Yeah,
He got busy talking.
that's
He got busy
that's
talking.
that could be what is today? Today is 13th March, and we declare this as Dark Virus Pizza Day.
You know what? You got to come up with a
burnt
DePIN
pizza.
project a DePIN project that monitors your food in the oven, and when it determines it's done, then it turns off your oven. All right, so we're and you earn crypto. Work on that one. You'll be set.
Actually, wait, quick question. What was your first DPIN?
For me,
Uh,
my first DePIN project I
Oh,
got into was actually helium. The original helium project got in several years
same?
ago.
Same
I
helium.
had
I
I
didn't know
had
that it was deep in, right?
it
Well,
was oh
because it
yeah, and
wasn't.
deep
It wasn't. It
yeah
wasn't
yeah.
till like a year and a half ago, I think it got
Mhm.
the name. But yeah,
Yep.
helium. Uh, did you ever do the coin app, XYO coin app?
I
Mm-mm,
did
mm-mm.
XYO.
Yeah,
I did
I still do
XYO.
that. Yes,
Yeah,
that was
XYO.
actually the one that got me into it. It's the gamification, that
Yeah.
brings. That's what onboards is like gamification.
Now, speaking
But
of
go
some
ahead.
of the projects, right? Yeah, let's talk about projects. What are the current deep in human? Oh,
Oh
SkyX.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, I just brought it in for a charge, and you just happened to say that. So yeah, but
I have one
I've
right
been.
here in my closet. I'm going to be deploying it here in the next like 2 weeks.
Ooh,
That's awesome. Yep.
I'm just
wow.
thinking
Let's
about
talk
this and
about
like
SkyX. Okay.
bro,
So,
Hmm.
like put this on a storm chaser car. Like, so I live in Oklahoma, so it's like
Okay.
it's fixing to be like tornado season. But you imagine like if you had like there's so many storm chasers that come here. You
Hmm.
imagine if they all had one like deployed on their cars, like in different areas of the storm, they could get like live data, like they could see
Hmm.
like the inflows, outflows, temperatures, or whatnot, and then they can make even advanced warning systems for like the people, like in the way of the
Hmm.
storm. Just like Weather XM's doing too. They're both. I
mhm.
mean, they all have the same thing, and that's why we all try to collaborate. And we
Yeah.
just trying to share the data. You imagine if we all share the data between weather together? Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm also looking collaborated with regard to volcanic activity data,
Mm.
right? And especially in
Oh,
Indonesia, and these coming together, it could be a precision prediction system for them, you know. So
Well, I think where I'm seeing a lot of these like projects like the weather stations, like the SkyX you talked about there, Weather XM, a lot of these where I think are starting to grow some legs is like, okay, data's awesome, right? Data is the new oil, it's the new gold, where we are in 2025 right now.
but
Everybody
what do
wants
you
more
do
data.
with it?
Exactly, I agree. And so where I'm seeing a lot of these go is the direction of then we need another partner involved. And a lot of the times these partners are AI compute platforms to take that
mm,
data and then do something with it that actually provides value. Cuz like data is great, but data is just line items in a database. And until you actually do something with it, bringing in AI, that's really where it actually starts to become valuable. That's where the money is, right? That's where that
w-
money is because then you can
we
resell that,
have
like you talked about.
we have found the next half of the circle, okay?
Okay.
Because when we are collecting data from say SkyX, WeatherXM, and everything,
Mhm,
right? These
mhm,
data gives you a lot of information about the microclimate. Now that microclimate data goes through to agriculture insurance provider,
mhm.
right? That way they can know, right? So there are
I know where you're
so
going.
many things like those guys. So we spoke to one agri insurance. They said, "Oh, if you guys can do that, then that's it. We settle,
Mhm.
right? Because they want third party, right?
Yep.
So what is better third party than SkyX or WeatherXM? Like this,
Or
right? You
what
cannot
if we put
manipulate their
sensors
data.
on these, Yog? What about this? We put sensors on all these little things right here.
What
You know,
not are
all
you
the
doing?
oh, peppers. No, this is my spring peppers. What if we could put
Nice.
sensors on like, my chicken eggs too, like measure it, No, I'm telling
Bro,
you, the sky is the limit, and we are so early to all this, That's why I was get so excited.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think like as you spoke about there when it comes into insurance and based off of agriculture and stuff. I mean, we're seeing that data, traditionally they call it ESG data. And a lot of that is going back to, different areas, especially in the US here with just regulation and climate change review, as well as, other things that we see out there with, especially like as you talked about climate risk, all of these things kind of come into play, and that's really where the value is. I know a lot of these, believe it or not, it's not as public, but a lot of these governments need that ESG data, just like you talked about for like risk management or bigger decisions, or as you had talked about, like insurance types of situations. And that's really where that use case is. I think whereas you had said, like once we start to pair this with AI to make these decisions instantaneously, to be like, is this a good spot to do X, Y, and Z? And we have parameters built in for
absolutely,
AI. You don't
absolutely.
you don't need a data analyst, you don't need a meteorologist, you don't need a specialist. It's like, man, your overhead and your labor costs, and I hate to say it, but it gets cut down by AI when you're just like, click a point on a map and go, is this a good investment? and
People
it
get
generates
scared
that
of
for
that
you.
though. They get scared of that
Yeah.
when you say that,
Yep.
hey, AI is taking over my job. They're like, Terminator 2? Dun dun
Yeah,
dun dun
yeah.
dun.
We are nowhere near there. Like,
No, I mean, actually, I think we're getting closer and closer.
yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. If you hang out with
We
It's
know
the
what
Elon
amazing
Musk,
happens.
though.
100%. Yep.
They're going to be like you, dark virus, having few miners, and
Mhm.
AI is taking your job. Let it be. I'm chilling,
Let
right?
it
So
be,
let
let
it
it
be.
be. Yeah, exactly.
So one of the
No,
thing what we are experimenting, especially when we are collecting so much of data. So there is a pattern, and this pattern for now it is very difficult to really sink in unless we take the help of AI, right? So we collect all this data while monitoring the produce, right? So there must be a pattern why this produce is more or why somewhere it is less,
Hmm.
right? So while the farmer is cultivating and you are giving this data, that the pattern it better yield, or you need to do XYZ to get a better yield, right? Now imagine that all coming world's data. I'm sure somewhere, some part of Mexico will have some part of, say, India will have a similar climate, right?
Mhm.
So imagine exchange of such data, and that's not possible right now with centralized agencies, but it could be possible with AI and DePIN.
Yeah.
And I'm being agriculture
100.
specific so that everybody can understand the subject, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the food. I mean, what do we all need? We don't need anything else in the whole entire world but food, right? So if
Unless we
everybody
fast.
dead, all we need is well, I mean, well, I'm just saying if it comes down to it, but you're thinking soil data, you're thinking like
Mhm.
weather. I mean, weather like from my land over here, a mile over there, it's 2 degrees warmer and a different soil. You know what I'm saying? So yes, hand in hand, weather, soil, all that data together. I mean, like you can know what crop, what to plant, and what soil at what time a year, and then you can monitor that crop the whole time it grows. When's the best time? The weather patterns would be like, hey, you should harvest now because in a week, something's gonna happen. I mean, this is gonna change like everybody's lives. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, I mean,
especially my
data's
belly.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, data more and more, like, it's really funny. I feel like in the last, I don't know, year, maybe, a lot of these data collection devices, whether it's, SkyX, whether it's, WeatherXM, one that turned to more recently is the Nubula Marco Miner as well. But then also something
What
that
is
we
that?
look at
Which
too is
one?
like, it's called the Nubula
Nubila.
Marco Miner.
Nubula,
Nubula
yes.
Marco
Okay.
Miner. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But and that one's been a lot of fun too. But everything has just been about data, flipping industries away from agriculture. Just looking at it, you have another product out there like Star Power, where they're literally
Mm,
collecting data on electricity consumption. It's like, holy cow, take
beautiful.
agriculture, transfer it over to the electric usage with
Absolutely.
residential. Like, it's the same thing. They're collecting data and then they're reselling it to these virtual power plants within the US and other areas, like other areas. It's the same philosophy, right? It's like taking that
Absolutely.
data, using AI to make better predictable models for these power companies on where they need more build out, times of day, what people are running. So like it's really interesting that DePIN has taken it. If you cut back and peel back everything, at the end of the day, DePIN is being driven by the need for data. Like just take away the industry.
100%.
It's all been about data.
100%. Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
a lot of people think, okay, you are going to reward me in millions, but
Mhm.
Mm.
where is your revenue source? But
Mhm.
what they don't realize is that there are thousands of companies want your data and they're ready to pay millions for it, like
Mhm.
simple data right now. Let's talk about wing bits, right?
Mhm.
Flight tracking
Mm.
data, right? Flight tracking data, they would already have players automatically. They have the
Oh
demand,
yeah.
right? So for them to reward you, actually it's cheaper to reward you, to be honest, right?
Mhm.
Because the demand of that data is already too high, right?
Yep.
Uh, I mean, I was day one in it. They still haven't like paid me in
Oh
tokens,
no.
but I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. And they actually sent me some hardware that what is that one thing? You know what I'm talking about? The little stick thing, the wing bits.
Hmm.
Mm.
Here. But anyway, I just onboarded
it
it
it it
today. I
actually
got it
just
a month
throws
and a
a
yeah,
signal to
the
the flight, and then
GPS.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, but that is I mean, security is like the biggest thing right now to me in
Mhm.
like Web3 is like, do I click this? Is this real? Is this call
Never
real?
know what to
Is this
click. Never know
person?
what to click. Yep. Yep.
I just ignore all of them and then we don't have that issue, right? But then
What's
I
your
have that
what's your
email.
risk tolerance for that day, Depends how many clicks you're gonna click. I get you
Well,
100%.
yeah, but then I disregarded this email I've been getting from Wingbits the past month that said, "Hey, your station, something something. I was like, oops.
Mm,
So I went and fixed that today because, yeah. So March 17th, I remember if you're OG and Wing Bits, if you don't have your device up to date and synced or whatnot by the 17th, you don't get rewarded for anything, before. Just
mm.
FYI.
I have one
Oh
coming. I'm
yeah.
excited about it. I'm excited to get into it. I think it's very fascinating, very cool. It's wild. Like you've seen the need for flight data increase just with me traveling alone. When you're like, oh, this is where your flight is, and even like now, you can go on these sites and see a link, and it shows you exactly where it is, the exact determination on timing, the speeds, like all of that data is available out there. That didn't we didn't have that readily to our
Bro.
availability. We didn't
I'm
have that available to us.
I'm thinking
I
ahead. I'm thinking drones. I'm thinking blimps.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, there you
thinking
go.
oh
all
yeah.
this stuff. No, it's all coming into play. Drones are going to be
Mhm.
a big
I'm
part of it.
partnered with
Flying
one
cars.
company. I'm partnered with one company called Drone Dash. Okay.
Mm,
Uh,
okay.
Mhm.
and w- so while spraying agriculture pesticides or anything, right, it collects that data that is going to be useful for traceability.
Mm.
Ooh, we should get some,
Uh,
like those planes that like the crop dusters. What if we
Yeah,
got
yeah.
like drones do that instead and then like just perfectly measure all? Oh,
Mhm.
Man, the
yeah.
Well, it's
I'm
opportunity
wild.
there
You
geeking
is
out.
see,
crazy.
well, it's wild. You see Amazon. Like if you heard in the news a while back, Amazon
Mhm.
actually had the patent for an Amazon delivery blimp that
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah,
drones that would
yeah,
deliver
yeah.
that would have drones
Dude,
that would
that
deliver your
is.
packages, and it's like, man, you talk about trackability, right? It's like
Yeah, Drone Dash
onboarding.
does that in Singapore. I mean, it is in
Oh,
proof of
really?
concept.
Wow.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
in
Okay.
proof
they
of
actually
concept.
do it in
Yeah.
Dallas. Amazon actually drone delivers in Dallas, I think, right now for sure. Isn't that
Dang,
crazy? Like, yeah,
that's
yeah, but it has
fantastic.
to be
Sign
like
me
a
up.
certain weight.
Now, I'm
Listen,
expecting
I want
also
to put
the
a
same
little.
thing.
I was gonna say I would want to put a little target in my backyard. Like, is Amazon gonna require a little
No, that's
circular
yeah,
target in your
no,
backyard?
I think it does at first. Yeah, I think it does
That's
right
cool.
now, but bro, so, I live my life on the road like 100%,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
everything on the road sucks. It don't matter which
Mm,
country, whatnot. We need
yeah.
to go back to the future too. We need to start going up. I've been watching Lyft for a long time. They've actually, was it Lyft? I think only has the only US patented flying car at the moment. And it's
Wow.
coming, man. I'm telling you, our infrastructure, we have to go up. It's like if you ever been to like Texas, everything's built on the ground so much that there's
Yeah.
no more
Too much
room.
space.
They have to go up.
Mhm.
They have to keep building up higher, up
Yeah,
over.
expect air
So,
taxis, and
yes.
that too tokenized air taxis, hopefully.
No, they
Right?
are. Lyft. Check out Lyft. They've been doing it for 2 or 3 years. They
Yeah.
actually, I think they only have the one patent. That's the way to go. Go ahead,
Mhm.
yo, go.
Yeah. I think that I think even the same thing is going to happen in on sea because
Mm,
supply chain data is so bad.
mm,
If you just get like, oh yeah, your shipment has arrived, okay, but I wanted to know where it is now, not after
mm.
it is arrived, right? Because my decision making is based on whether you would be coming day after tomorrow or not. So I will
Bruh.
decide whether I'll stay at home or not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that also throws up a lot of challenge, and I think because no centralized player
Oh,
can handle this, right? There's a lot of data, lot of diverse data, and lot of data that is what I call like thankless data, right? Because you are not paid
Mm,
for it. If you do deep in and give the reward, now imagine you have incentive to provide that data. Now
yep.
that data we can take it and further give it to AI, of course, and help in route optimization, help in like better package deals for import and export. A lot of things can come in. What are you showing, Duck Virus?
bro, these things right here. These I'm super bullish on. Something Suburban Crypto showed me. You can put these literally on anything, anywhere, in an envelope, in a package or whatnot, and it
Beautiful. You can
uses. You can track
track
it in lifetime,
that.
100%.
We're doing that one.
See,
We're
yeah,
doing
see,
that.
that's what I'm saying. Stuff like this right here. It's like it
Yeah.
costs nothing. It's just a little thing. It's disposable. Whoop, throw it away. But you
Does
can
it
see
have
it in
does it have to
lifetime.
be does it have to be scanned or how exactly does
No,
that
you
work?
you ju- you just drop
No.
it, and it has got it can sense even helium network and throws the data.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's a
Okay.
little,
Got
yeah,
you.
inside a
Okay.
little
Yeah.
sticker. You just throw it on, envelope, a
Very
package,
cool. Very cool.
shipper all the way to your front door. If you're like me on Amazon, I'm like, where's my package? Come
Yeah, right?
on. But
Yeah.
now you can see it come to your
That's
door and
cool.
live.
That's cool.
That's,
And
yes,
and
I
and
love it.
all of these actually through the companies as well, or freight providers, you will see that they will accumulate this data and put it in one place.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Instead of keeping it
So
segmented.
that
Yeah.
also is not going to be very retail DePIN, but it is going to be a business DePIN, right? Did we
Yeah.
coin a word business DePIN? Okay. Um,
Write that down. Hold on a second.
before we forget.
Deep pin.
So,
Okay, now.
hobbyist miner, what are the DePINs you are mining now? What are the things you are looking at?
So I started with helium originally, and just like you guys had alluded to, like it was before DPIM was even a buzzy word. And I'm not saying like any like some OG. We just didn't call things DPIN a few years ago. Like that just wasn't a thing. So that really got me into it at first. Running that here at home with my little gold spot miner that was like impossible to get. It was very difficult. But yeah, so I went from that into what else did I have in there? I'm dabbling. I got GeoNet right now. Weather XM I'm running. I
Net,
have a
because this one of
yeah,
my favorite project. Yeah, this is
yeah,
going to go crazy.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So GeoNet's one of those ones where to simplify it down at its best capacity, everything's becoming more autonomous, more automated, and where data once again, but live data on accuracy of everything, location based, everything like that is becoming more and more important. And so, the best avenue of use case, because that's where our audience connects, right? It's like, let's not talk and get in the weeds on the technicalities. Let's talk about use case and how we can reflect and relate.
Absolutely,
Best
absolutely.
one I've heard with GeoNet is like, okay, like something that I don't own, but that is out there is something like an automated lawnmower, right? This is the best what I've heard about it. Of like, and the best avenue to go is like if you're using some of the technology out there now, that automated lawnmower that cuts your grass for you. And for some people watching are like, one, I don't own any grass, and two, I can't relate. But um, the how close it gets to that flower bed, how close it gets to that edge is very important, right? A 6 foot
Yeah,
difference versus a few centimeter difference is a big
yeah.
difference, on
Ju-
cutting
Just
into it.
just for the viewer that we're
Yep.
talking about GPS versus GeoNet, for example, right?
Correct.
GPS
Correct. Yes.
um,
Yep.
is not sure where you like it 5 meter sometimes,
Yep. Yeah, so
Uh,
the accuracy is super important, and so that's just a quick little example of like, oh man, you could benefit from this. But as time goes on, we look at this on things like look at like a big thing right now, like Teslas, right? Teslas right
mm,
now they have multiple different cameras on there and all these sensors and stuff. But what if it's also then pulling from additional data, like from the GeoNet network on location-based systems down because that's important, when you're driving down to the
Natics.
accurate.
Natics.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
absolutely.
that another great example there. Yeah, so this is just one more thing out there. So I have GeoNet. I have like the peak of my roof is like GeoNet, Helium, Weather XM, and then I actually have it's about 55 feet up. I then have I still have my Helium CBRS radio that is being decommissioned. I'll be going back up to put a Helium 5G outdoor hotspot, and then I have two sheds, and one of the sheds I have Solar X on as well as my Nubula Marco miner, and I'll be adding SkyX coming up here very shortly, as well as Wingbits too. And then finally, the last thing I'm into is Demo. So those are
What's
kind of the
that on
projects.
your roof?
That's a GeoNet, right? It's got like
Oh
right,
That's a
it's
yeah.
a GeoNet. Yep,
G.
yep, yep,
Awesome.
yep. See, His house looks like mine. It looks like Doc's
Helium
Doc's
and
barn
yeah.
from Back to the Future is what my wife tells me. It's like I got all these devices and antennas coming off of it and everything.
I got
There,
chickens
there,
too.
there is a multi-miner, I think, with GeoNet and Wingbits,
Okay. What
right?
was the
Mm,
Fry? There's one out there with Fry Network as well.
hmm
That does
Yeah.
like multi
Yes. Yeah, I
as
was
well.
day one
Yeah.
on that one too.
Yep. Yep.
And when you talk about GeoNet, we were also looking at all agriculture,
Mhm.
pesticides, and looking after that, your agriculture fields that requires precision, precision
Mhm.
location, right?
Yep.
And just imagine what is possible sitting in one place and monitoring and doing your agriculture versus actually going and doing it on field, right? And also like there are like reindeer and all are
Mhm.
working on a lot of connection with between the tractor and the data, precision location data, right? So combination, that's why I'm so bullish on journet and kind of projects, that it can actually generate huge demand in almost anything
Well, it
where
comes down to those
location is required.
self-driving. Look at self-driving harvesters that you have
Yeah,
out there, like
farmer. You remember Farm
combines.
Simulator, the game?
Yeah,
Farm
Yeah.
Simulator. You know, you click the
Yep.
button and then it does it for you. There
Well,
you
that's
this
go.
what.
so there's a lot of those situations where you have combine tractors out there in agriculture that then have another tractor with its tow behind collecting everything, and it's autonomous. There's no one driving it. And a lot of
John
these
Deere is, I
situations,
think, testing that,
yep.
right? I think they
Yeah, and
they
they have a drone that you can throw up in the air to help monitor, like,
yeah,
as you're
yeah,
doing that. But as you
Oh,
talked about, a lot of these things with GeoNet come into, like, think about, and in relating this back to agriculture, about overseeding or double seeding when you're looking at a cost
correct.
perspective, and being able to track that perfectly out in your farm field to exactly where it needs to be so that you're not overseeding, as well as, I mean, imagine a farmer who never leaves his house after he gets his combine ready to go, or his seeder, and he's just in his house monitoring a computer screen that goes out and actually harvests
That
his fields for
the,
him
the the
or
or
the
future
his next
farmer
AI
field.
looks
does it
like Dark
for
Virus,
him.
sitting in his cool place and
Yep.
putting all the devices and monitoring it.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
it's coming, man. It's coming. It really
Oh
is.
yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I
Excited
would agree.
like that. I'm gonna
And
monitor my seedlings.
wow,
Hello, seedling.
man.
I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd.
Yep.
And do you see like some of these, like, let's talk about industries, right? I
Mhm.
think AI also has given the necessary boost to a lot of compute and storage deepins, right?
Mhm.
And like whether it is Ether, for example, is a good one. IO.net also,
Mhm.
IO.net is also doing well, right? And Render is already a market established player, right? So do you think this also throws up a lot of opportunity for common people like us, right,
Mm.
to participate? So at least, like, of course, when we are buying services from Google or say Alibaba or from GCP or Amazon, right, we don't get rewarded. Do you think that actually going to sometime make people think, how about
Mm.
putting a little infrastructure in their own facility based on their
Mm.
own ability and tap onto this?
Go for it, Dark
I mean,
Virus. You go first. I'll go after that.
it'd be dumb if they don't.
Mhm.
I mean, seeing what people want, when they want it, where they want it. I mean, that's really all. I mean, that's really all DePIN is. It's just like an advertisement agency, except you're getting paid for what you're thinking, what you're doing, your daily actions, where you go, what you do, or you can just use your Google phone and they'll steal it from you for free,
Mhm.
right? What do you think?
So you spoke definitely about like infrastructure and everything like that, and that's a big one where two things to talk about on there. First off, talking about just like we're talking about AI, we're talking about compute and just the demand behind DePIN and what we do with that data, right? For I originally started a while back as a GPU miner, and we were very hopeful on GPUs almost being its own offset of DePIN, where my all these GPUs I got sitting around now, I could repurpose them to be overflow for these projects that need AI compute and such. The unfortunate thing is that was a great concept, but a lot of these companies ended up just turning up their own compute centers and instead of utilizing DePIN, Tesla is a great example of that in the direction they went. And so that was really something that we as homeowners, you talked about there, like us participating, where it was like, great, if I got a few graphics cards, I could use them in almost a DePIN capacity to be overflow for this AI compute. Well, that really hasn't worked out the way that we all hoped and wished. But what I am
Mm,
seeing more and more of is, you talked about infrastructure, is actually a project that I've gotten into more recently, the Deep network, with actually running your own Deep network node at home that allows, as part of their infrastructure, to move away from Web 2 when it comes down to hosting. And it's kind of a decentralized infrastructure where these things,
mm.
where the Deep network runs everything on it. You're just a fraction of their entire total compute and network, and they can be used to run all different projects and stuff. So to getting away from, hey, everything's with Amazon or everything's with Google or Microsoft, and you can jump on top of that. So yeah,
Oh,
infrastructure I feel like is becoming more and more higher demand in the deep in space.
actually, speaking of that, I have a couple of machines that mining theta,
Mm.
almost similar,
Hmm.
right? Because when theta started for storage, I said, okay, let's participate for fun.
Okay,
And
very cool.
they've been giving a lot of tokens.
Hmm.
Oh, did you do grass too? And what was that other one?
Hmm.
Node something or
I missed out on grass. For
you
some
didn't?
reason, I
No,
I
just
you
never
thought
got
that they
didn't.
were
into
No,
not
it.
you
serious.
didn't.
Yep.
No, you didn't.
Yep.
I couldn't get in. Well, speaking of infrastructure, there is another big gap is the telecom. Okay.
Hmm.
And earlier, I wasn't really believing in naturally because where I stay, it's like telecom everywhere, right? But when
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
are going to places like Indonesia, massive place and lot of dead zones.
Hmm.
Some of the
Hmm.
villages don't have any infrastructure at all, right? So
Hmm.
I started doing research on what are the deep ins in that space, right? So
Hmm.
naturally, I started speaking to World Mobile, right?
Hmm.
Then looked at Dabba Network, Weru. Dabba
Hmm.
Network is really good, doing amazing things
Yes,
in India,
yes. Very
right?
good. Bullish.
And I'm thinking that telecom and they will work hand in hand, but it's bound to get disrupted. It is actually a boost for telecom company because they can't be everywhere, so they can just outsource that to the deep in providers, you know. So
Bro, I have
that's what is going to.
so yesterday, let me see if my wife's in here. So my wife didn't pay the AT&T bill. But luckily, I had 7 Helium mobile phones on there in my,
Hmm.
my bag or whatnot. But literally, those self-sustained phones, you
Hmm.
know, it's the people's network. So right at the moment, Helium Mobile's backbone is, T-Mobile. So
Correct. Yep.
anything not provided by the people is filled in by T-Mobile. But man, I hate to say it, but between my Helium Mobile and actually AT&T, man, the speed wise or whatnot, it's really hand in hand. But the one thing about Helium Mobile is that it pays me every day for mapping, 40 hexes a day. So, I'm just driving along or whatnot. It rewards me every day at like 6, 7, Eastern time or whatnot. You can actually get that right there, or you can save it and actually pay your bill. And you actually, if you do that every day, you can actually pay your bill and get paid more. So you're actually almost getting paid to use the network. I mean, and I can see that across the world though. I mean, so you're mapping the dead zones or whatnot. You're giving them the data. They reward you every day for that. And then you can actually click a button right there and, oh, I paid my bill with my rewards. I didn't win or lose anything.
Yeah,
And
I got
in
into
that's
Helium. I got into Helium Mobile a few years ago, actually, getting the early CBRS radios before even like, sorry, hitting my mic here, before
There
even
you
cell phones were even announced on that network,
go.
which was
Hmm.
mhm.
awesome to get in
Hmm.
very early. I mean, people
Same.
that are interested in DePIN, the earlier you can get in, the better. To start stacking that token. I do agree. Helium 5G from the telecom side is kind of filling that gap in the direction that things are going within more advanced countries in areas where like you had spoken to where like the issue is with helium and running as operators, and you're not going to see this in a lot of remote places, is like the infrastructure. Like I did see Helium 5G just announced that like for an operator you now have to have gigabit speeds. It's like you're not seeing that in the middle of South Africa or Africa somewhere, set up. So where my mind goes, and I'm glad you actually brought this up with telecom, is what we may see, and I'd love to see a almost 5G network setup with a DPIN project and a mobile device. Is can we piggyback a DPIN project off of Starlink's low orbit satellites, which then could be anywhere and you can have a cell phone anywhere, but can you add
Absolutely.
DPIN to it? Because I know Starlink has already talked about, and there's been some news on like, hey, they're going to come out with a cell phone. But how badass would it be if it could be connected to a DPIN project? That would be fantastic. Because
Whee!
I mean, let's be honest here. We
Let's
know
map
Starlink's
satellites.
low orbits are everywhere. I mean, you could go almost anywhere and get that. So yeah, that's where
You
my head
you know
goes.
we are working on a concept called the FAB, Farm Center Agri-Tech Village. So
Okay.
obviously, a lot of farmers will not be paying for this data, right? Data connections
Mhm.
are expensive in there. So what
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
doing, we're getting a Starlink and then bringing in one of the project like Veru, Dabba Network or something, right?
Okay.
Connect to
Yep.
them and then let everybody consume that, right?
Mhm.
And I think World Mobile Veru, Dabba Network, XNet is another one, right?
Yep,
These are
that's
the
another one
guys
too.
can these guys can actually fill that gap. Yeah, this would be a massive collab. I think uh, other than focusing on that phone that has the ability, I think the cheapest will be bring the connection and data and then let people consume through this
Mhm.
deep in locally. That would be a proper
Yep.
distribution model.
Yep.
Yeah,
No, I
that's going to be so
think it's
cool.
great.
Bro, you ever remember in Star Trek, we all, in the future, they all, just work to better themselves? Imagine all these Web3. I mean, it's already coming. You see it every day, like partner with partner and partner and partner. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, how do they even do any work? They're just partnering with people all the time. It's just like, let's just put them all together, the whole basket. You imagine just every project everywhere. Peak try to do it, I mean, they are doing it and stuff, but I mean, just all of it together, just all information all together for everybody for free. That's life changing. That's like Star Trek shit right there.
Well, a
You
lot
know,
of it too, though, I think looking through the clutter, like a big thing we're seeing now, like as DePIN explodes, right, it becomes more and more normalcy. What I'm also seeing though is that, and you alluded to this with so and so is partnering with so and so is partnering with so and so. Some of these projects are becoming more marketing companies than actually technologists and
Mhm.
businesses. And it's just like, man, all you're doing is partnering with people to give, more exposure,
was the
more
output?
advertising.
Was the
Yeah,
output?
Mhm.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly, and I think that's really the challenge is, like, especially in my space, looking at, like, proof of work and, like, where I came from GPU mining years ago, now it's every time I look at a project, it's like, man, there's another proof of work project, that is launched. There's thousands and thousands of these out there. What are you actually doing differently and are you delivering? Because everybody's got this like, oh, we're the most decentralized and we have this AI compute. It's like, dude, everyone's using these buzzwords now. Are you actually
Mhm.
delivering on this? And I think the same thing is coming down to on the deep end side where we're seeing a lot of these partnerships occurring, but what is that actually doing? Like, are you actually doing anything, or are you just saying your best buds? Is really what it comes down to.
I
It's
think
hard to
you
say.
yeah, I think you actually highlighted one of the most crucial thing in the space, right? And people are
Hmm.
afraid to speak that, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, you
I'm
were just
not.
handshaking. You both are not. You both are not. People are just so happy with just handshaking. Okay, but that need to bring result, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Earlier, as I said, we were trying to go alone with our hardware and then realize that we can actually help other deep in projects, right?
Hmm.
If my farmer is still having, a gateway, LoRaWAN gateway to serve data, then what stops him having, Skynet or SkyX or having,
It's
like a,
Skynet. Oh my gosh, it's coming. Dun, 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 dun.
he's coming. He's coming. We need to tell them, right?
All right, Will
Go
Smith,
ahead.
settle down over there, Will Smith. All right.
right? And then or having the weather XM and all, right? So I checked
Hmm.
with a couple of farmers and I asked if we can set it up this way, you will be earning token from SkyX, you can earn from weather XM, you can earn from FarmScent, you can earn from various sources, right? And I
Mm.
was just doing a tiny calculation, right? Actually, they can live. This could be a real big part of their additional income, you know,
Mhm.
other than the
Bro,
commodities.
I have to ask one question though.
Tell me.
So, if you go to a farmer and say this, they're like, huh? What?
Mhm.
A token? What's this? You just need to like sit it up and something that like sends it to like their bank or their wallet like once because they don't give a shit about that. They want the passive
Mhm.
income. And maybe the
Mhm.
data, like, hey, I need to put more nitrogen in my soil, or I need to, plant a week later or a week earlier, stuff like that, Sorry, but yes, I know where you're going with that, bro. That's what I had to interrupt. My bad.
Y-
Well, it's
y-
all in your
y-
business. It's all in your business approach too, because like where I see this, and then I can translate this over to what you're saying is great example. More and more Bitcoin miners in a hydro scenario are getting involved with and getting built for things like hotels and heating water and heating pools in these scenarios to repurpose them. So when you approach these hotel chains and you're like, "Hey, I have an avenue for you that will save you on some of the cost here with heating your pools and
Mhm.
whatever, but you're also going to stack Bitcoin as well." That's the same scenario you're talking about in an agricultural situation where I spoke about earlier with GeoNet, where it's
Yeah.
like, hey, I can help you with cutting down on overseeding. And you almost
Yeah.
sell that. You sell the technology, which is really what DePIN is the technology. And then, oh, guess what? You're gonna earn some crypto on the side. Great. You
Yeah,
don't need to
but
get
they don't.
into the.
You know what? One
That's
of
where
the
you
thing what
lose
we
them, though.
did.
They're like, oh, crypto. I mean, okay, so
Yeah.
what? I
So
mean,
Yep.
so
like a
now we're
farmer, you know
building
what I'm saying?
a super app. Okay, that just
Super app.
it
Okay.
right. So it's very simple for them because it is on-chain account abstraction. So they just log
Mhm.
in by their email. They just don't know that this is a wallet. And then we launched, as you know, a TLD called .grow. So these guys will just send money to any address .grow. So it is super easy for
Mhm.
them. And then we are going to mint a local stable coin. Okay, and banking partnership, you just get these tokens, swap directly, show me the money, because it's very difficult for them to understand what this crypto, when to sell and what. No, this is the value, bank account. It automatically converts and
That's a
sends you,
farmer.
right?
That's a farmer. They don't
That's
care
the
about
farmer, right?
markets and whatnot. Where's the money
Yep.
at? Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Right?
that's
100%.
And
what's
you
for
know what?
breakfast? What's for dinner? I gotta go plow the
Exactly.
crops. They don't care about that shit. I mean,
I think
Mhm.
adoption will come once we look at user experience, right? And
Mhm.
we have made so far all the user experience, like sometimes I jokingly say that the inspect button of the browser, right? That's for the developers. So all the Web3 tools we have done so far is like, look at the Explorer. Just to tell
Yeah,
me, I go to Etherscan link, I will give it to the farmer. Just imagine.
they don't know what
Like,
that is. What?
like, bro, did you send me money or not? He's asking
Yeah,
me.
that's what I'm saying.
Yep,
They just
that's
Right?
all
If
they
it
want to
in the
know. That's all
bankers
they
or
want to know.
not, they don't. I mean, I'm a simple man. I have my own 10 acres out here. I don't.
Hmm.
I show me the money. Just because I'm a
Hmm.
nerd, I'm just thinking about my neighbor. How do you explain? Hey, you're gonna make money in crypto, huh?
Hmm.
What?
How?
You said
I think
money,
it's.
but you,
I
you
think.
lost me at crypto. So
Yeah, I think
go
it comes
ahead.
down with adoption to like when you think back to previous generations and where we are and parents or grandparents whatever based off of age like crypto, what was crypto a thing, or are they aware of it, or do they know about it? I think the nice thing is like as technology is advancing and as crypto is becoming more, it's mainstream now, right? You can't turn on a news channel without hearing the word Bitcoin or XRP or whatever it is, like they're at least talked about, they're out there. So I think as time goes on and the years go on, those that have never heard of crypto or never heard of Bitcoin, it'll become less and less. So it'll be a little bit more adoptable. I think it's just we're so early on right now till eventually to that adoption point.
And also, like with a lot of regulations, right? That the that criminality aspect is getting lesser. So
Hmm.
we've been fighting that because the moment you say crypto, it's like, oh no, no, there must be some scam. Chill.
Hmm.
This is not scam. You are just converting this to your local currency, right? Right?
I know, I
So,
know. Well, I mean, we laugh at it, but you just got to think from somebody never done it before. You're just like, oh,
Hmm.
I ain't
right?
clicking
Well,
that.
why
I
are you
ain't doing
giving it?
that. Swap what? What?
We
Well,
put few
the same
sensors.
philosophy. The
We
same philosophy goes back to DePIN projects and just like, is this one a scam? Is this one not a scam? Right? Like that same philosophy
Yeah.
exists. And I think the challenge is like what determines that scam? I mean, if we think back, think about helium early on and all of these, these resellers and then the manufacturers that were committing to making these devices. And then people waited over a year to get some of these devices where literally like none of them even had product. It was literally a year worth of engineering and manufacturing, and so the same people will call that a scam. And was that a scam on the Helium project? Was that really just a scam on the manufacturer side? Like, unfortunately, that's the world we live in.
Well, you don't know. You really don't. I actually
Yep,
ordered. I was
exactly.
one of the first patrons because I ordered it. It was actually before they even had the prototype. I saw it on Facebook, and I was like,
What
okay. I click it.
manufacturer was it? Who was it?
No,
Do you
this
remember?
was before even way. I mean, like
Ah,
before
okay,
it,
like the
it was
originals.
even.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, the original. And then the same thing
Mhm,
with the Hive Mapper. I seen the camera
how's it
like
going?
a
Hive
year.
Mapper, how is it going now?
mm.
I mean, uh, they all. So I use Google a lot. So I use like Google every day. So I imagine so I look at like pictures of like places and docks and whatnot I'm going to. Some of this stuff is way outdated.
Yeah,
Uh,
yep.
so this stuff I've got one in my front windshield, one in like my side cam, and I'm
Mhm.
updating every day. They can literally update maps now, like almost to the day. I'm not gonna say to the hour, but pretty soon to like, the second. They've just
Yeah.
deployed the new B things that actually run
Mhm.
off of the Helium network. So you just put it in your windshield and you don't have to do nothing. It maps, you
Now
get
those haven't
rewarded,
deployed yet
boom.
though, right? The B model, the new model
Some of
hasn't
them,
shipped yet, has
yeah,
it?
they
Okay,
have they've started
okay.
shipping like a couple weeks ago. But
Yeah.
there's a Wi-Fi model and there's 100% just
Mhm.
on the Helium network model. But no,
Awesome.
everything, all these things, like Nadix and
Mhm.
Hive Mapper, all these things are coming into play that, you know, are going to change the world as we know it, and we just don't even know. We're so early to all this stuff, and you get, the
Even
rewards are
Mapmetrics
pretty
is doing
decent.
something like that, right?
Yes. Oh, yes, exactly. I was day one in that too. I've got like 7 of them. Those little, oh
Yeah.
yeah, here. Oh, I see one. They're hanging out right now. Little STPs. Dude, they were thinking that this
You
was
have the
long
37 or
before.
what?
No, no, this was
Mm, yep.
long
Ah,
before.
yeah, long
So
before, yeah.
the map mixers, I think it's been about 3 years now. So you have to
Mhm.
think they were along way before, just like Nadix was a
Mhm.
long way
Yeah,
before helium. But, hit or miss, trials and fails. You have the first gen DePINs, obviously, and then
absolutely.
you've got everybody that's gonna piggyback off of their failures and make
Sure.
successes,
And
which
we can't be too
sucks,
harsh
but
about it because, for any idea to be successful, you need 4 to 5 years,
Mhm.
oh,
and
at
Yeah, I
least.
think the
uh,
challenge is we live in a world of instant gratification. So
fast
looking
food
at
world.
4 to 5
Mic
years,
drop.
and also on top of that, it's just the technology space moves so quickly. I mean, I love the whole mapping, idea 100%. Unfortunately, I haven't found, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't found any of these mapping companies that have broken into the traditional mainstream space of Google Maps, as you talked about, like, super outdated. Google's still driving around on on their own cars,
Mhm.
and so the challenge
You
is,
reached your destination, bro. Where
yep,
is my
yep.
destination?
I get
I
it. I
use
get it. I
Google
go back
Maps
on
every
there.
day though, bro. Google
Yep.
Maps to the T,
Yeah.
like on the traffic, because they
Yep.
steal all the data off of everybody's phone is to the T. Like I drive every day. I know if it's like
Yep.
red or maroon or yellow or orange. I know how
Yep.
long it's going to be to the T. I mean, to the exact inch on the
You
map.
know
That's
you know
because they're
who owns
stealing
you know
everybody's data.
well,
You- you-
actually, that too. Yes, they're tracking Android devices
yes.
too. But on top of that, Google actually, I believe, bought Waze a while back. And if you're
Yes,
familiar
they
with
did.
Waze
Yes, a very,
app is
very long. Yeah, I
They
entirely,
stay
were
away
and I
from
they
love
were
Waze
Waze.
futuristic.
too.
They were
I love
futuristic.
Waze.
I
I
once
only use Waze.
once
Yep.
I was going from Hanover to Hamburg, and
Mhm.
there was an
What?
accident. There was an accident just like 200 meters around that, not too
Mm-hmm.
far,
Mhm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
I got the notification in the map that there is an accident ahead.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, this must be already an old data. And I'm just
Nope.
Mhm.
reaching there in the scene. So
Dude,
that was
every
mind
day.
blowing.
It saves me
Mhm.
hours every day until we can
Mhm.
get like, Hive Map, I think they kind of rebrand a little bit to like Hive
Yeah, with the new
Maps.
group. Yep.
I think they're trying to make their own Google Maps, which would
Yeah, I
be
mean, I
That
think
would be
awesome.
there's
awesome.
I
I got
mean,
into
you're talking
Hive
about
Mapper earlier
live.
on. Yeah, I got into
Yeah.
Hive Mapper earlier on, had one of their early units, and I always
I still
loved the
use the
concept.
both.
I love the concept to it, but I even went back to the team in a development circle with their group to be like, guys, this product is awesome. I love what you're trying to do, but I'm like the amount of time that I spend when I get into my car, when I leave my car, of like uploading pictures and stuff. And then, granted, this was the original. I'm like,
Yes.
this is. I'm spending more time getting it set up and then uploading photos than I am actually driving sometimes. I'm like, guys, we got to do something about this. Like, and I'm glad they're
That's where
moving in that direction.
Nadix. That's
Yeah,
where
I'm glad they're
native
moving
that
in
the
the
new
direction.
3 thing, that's the
Yep.
3 thick the 360 cam on top of your and you pull in your
Yep.
garage, it
Hmm.
automatically syncs to Wi-Fi. I mean,
And
so
uploads
yeah,
it. Yep. Smart.
that kinda hurt a little on the Hive map side, but still
Yeah.
though. I mean, as
Yeah.
long as I think everybody should collab and then it doesn't matter. It's all
Mhm.
the same, right?
It doesn't matter. End of the day, these
It
all will
doesn't.
collab. It's just
You're
like
right. You're right.
it's just that the stage of blockchain we are in.
Mhm.
The other day we were talking, and I liked some of the builders like Sandeep Nelwal from
Mhm.
Polygon, right?
Mhm.
It's
Oh
always
yeah.
collaborative mindset, right? What happens when you are looking at that? Eventually, these chains will connect so much that the end user, like today, doesn't know what it is like HTTP, wouldn't also know
Mhm.
a chain because user experience is going to be so seamless that they wouldn't care what be left with few of the nerds like us and then user is just thinking, hey, asset is appearing for me, I'm
That's it.
sending the token done, right?
Mhm.
So
Chains are
uh,
like clicks. I feel like they're like clicks. You know, like Bitcoin's like the old people, and Ethereum and Solana's like all the like the degens, and and then abstract. I don't even know what's going on there, but amazing
right.
things. But yeah, I see where you're going.
And I think the collaborative space is even increasing. I was also
Mm.
speaking to witness chain, right? Almost
Mhm.
every device will have to give a proof of location at some point of time, right?
Mm.
So and why would everybody build that extension? Just partner with
Mhm.
witness chain or something, and then and connect, right? So I think deep in space, most of these founders, telling about this handshake partnership, will turn to be actual partnership, and it would be like this is the region and this is the demo, how we are going to achieve it. So I
Mm.
think we will get there. Um,
Mhm.
Mm.
let's give a year. We will
I
get there.
know it is, but the biggest thing is when I see like a partnership that brings in not a Web3 to Web3, but when you see a Web3 bring in, Web2,
Yeah.
like what was it, Natix the other day? They like got Tom or something. I was just like, hey, well, see, there
Yeah,
you go. Start
yeah.
bringing in, it is, and it's all in 5 years from now. It'll hopefully everything will be integrated into everything because that's really the end game. I mean,
Mhm.
Like us,
why?
we are going to integrate map metrics
Yes.
to show the location of So why would we
Mm.
pull Google Map for what? So we will
Mhm.
put map matrix map and show this is the location where your food was produced. Okay. And then a lot of licenses, certification that this wasn't the field that had deforestation or something. And then the traceability data is given to everybody, right? Everybody thinks we are doing some magic, but no, actually we are using all the services, putting it together, right? So
I
that's
mean,
what
There's
is
a
look at
going to
huge
happen.
Google.
value. There's a huge value in though partnering, as you had mentioned, like a massive value for adoption and partnering with Web3 projects, partnering with Web2, or just
Mhm.
Web3 crypto projects, DePIN projects, partnering with a traditional business out
There
there.
you
I mean,
go.
we talked
Mhm.
about it. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
we just talked about
Mm,
with Google,
mm.
right? We just
Yeah,
talked
Mhm.
about
exactly.
them and the fact of like, man, and I think what is going to set a project apart from success is the fact of, "Oh, I'm only staying in my world," or, "Oh, I'm partnering with this major brand." Because that
There you
major
go.
brand, you know what it has? It has use case. You know what it has? It has capital.
Absolutely.
You know what it has? It
And
has
it has
adoption. It
got
has
people.
marketing.
It has got
Yep,
people, most importantly,
yep.
right?
Yep,
Like,
I mean, and there's a great example is like Hive Mapper with their pictures. Awesome. Great. Well, awesome. But what are they being used for? Like who's that end product being used by? If they had if it was Google Maps, all of a sudden your honey token would be worth significantly more if Google was spending massive amount of money to buy from Hive Mapper. And this is just any DePIN project. And so I think at the end of the day, regardless, just like you talked about at the beginning of this recording about money, it
Well,
all
that's
comes
what
down
it
to
all
money. I
comes down
mean,
to.
they got to make
Well, for
money. They
most
got to make
people.
money to stay in business. So yeah.
yeah, and just to extend that, like for example, if the Wingbits data are going to Web2 players,
Hmm.
Mm,
none
Yeah.
exactly.
Web3,
No,
right?
100%. I mean,
Right?
exactly.
So the revenue stream is so clearly defined, right? I think
Hmm.
those are the projects that are going to give or bring the users faster into the ecosystem because it just makes it black and white. This is my
Hmm.
revenue stream, and I'm giving you a share of revenue stream because you are supplying me data. What are
Yep.
you showing us? Oh my God.
There it is, the wing bits.
Ah,
Mhm.
Raspberry Pi and then that, and
yeah.
then the flight box, and it goes out to my antenna. It's got like a 250-mile radius. So yeah,
Wow, that's
it's
fantastic.
pretty
Yeah, I mean,
well,
all Wingbits is
it's
gonna take is like one major carrier if it hasn't already, like a Delta or United to be like all of our data is, like hey, we've got even more accurate data because we pull from this and that's why those announcements, those partnerships being bilateral are so important.
Mm. Yeah,
Um
I'm
I
thinking
agree.
I'm thinking more like taking like some like stress off like flight controllers. Why are airplanes crashing into
mm,
each other? We are way past that. Why do
yeah,
we have
I
that
could see
going
that.
on? But look, we have like all these now we have a network of antennas
Mhm,
everywhere. Not only everywhere, to see everything. I mean, there should be like multiple ways to like verify, that there won't be any collisions or whatnot. I mean, that's
mhm.
ridiculous.
Or at
Yeah, you'd
least
have to
because
have
right now they are going with the radio, right? So flights are mostly very outdated technology, right? So
mhm,
at least they can have a plan B. And that's where this is going. Like in lack of that, plan B. And I think AI will eventually come. AI says no,
AI will
right?
take they'll take all of those flight controllers out, man. I
Right.
mean,
It's actually
it's going to
most
happen.
easiest job, right?
It really, I mean, no, I mean, it's actually a really hard job,
No,
but
for AI,
AI
I think this
wise,
is going to be,
AI,
yeah.
bloop, yeah, bye. Yep.
But
Goodbye,
because right
government
now,
people.
uh, I was watching this documentary, so how they are operating. So once your space ends, right, you are literally transferring manually to the next air traffic controller. Hey, I'm handing over this flight to you.
mm.
Come
Mhm.
on. Come on.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do you
yeah,
think that's gonna last longer?
yeah.
You're right.
Now,
You're right.
well, you got to remember too. And I am not super knowledgeable in that space, but you got to imagine the technology, the operations, the procedures are all extremely outdated. Like that is a
Super
Oh,
space
outdated.
that is a space that is so outdated that like man, like everything's being done manually, and until AI is brought into that space for you got to think of it like flight cancellations is like the worst thing, right? It's like, well, why is it
Oh my
canceled?
God.
Well, because this got delayed here, this got delayed here. Like, is someone manually doing that, or is this all AI driven to determine like all this information? You're absolutely right. Like, you talked about earlier on in this spaces about just the fact of like what are industries that could value. And we talked about agriculture, and we also talked about a few others in there, and cars and the auto industry and everything like that. But like, man, the industry that is so outdated that we depend on so much is the flight industry. Like absolutely insane how that is like could truly benefit from a ton of this.
Um, Flight, shipping, car, all
Mhm,
transportation are going to be completely revamped because they are really stuck in
mhm.
time. And then, of course, like the
yeah.
drones are coming. Drones are coming. So
Yeah.
those will be key. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
And the
Amazon has really
blimps,
helped to advance Amazon has really helped to advance like the tracking industry and transportation. I mean, look at
mm,
us as consumers,
dude.
and looked at the fact of like, hey, I always call it like the Papa John's or Domino's pizza mentality. Years ago, they put into a fact of like every time you ordered a pizza on their website, you could track like who was making it, when it was going through the oven, when it was
No,
getting
it was
boxed, when it
Domino's,
was getting
right?
it was one of the 2, but it
Yeah,
was
it was
like, man, that
Domino's,
was way
Domino's.
ahead.
Yeah.
That was way ahead of Amazon before
yeah.
Amazon was giving you
Yes.
all that I mean, that was 10 plus years ago. And
Mhm.
now we have that mentality of like everything we do, we want to know up to date, whether it's Amazon package getting delivered, whether it's that flight and
Uh,
like where it is and when it's coming to us. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Amazon is totally dominating like the
Mhm.
industry right now. They have I've watched it over the year. They're fixing to dominate the air. They've already got the
Mhm.
ground. They're catching up to UPS and FedEx. Uh they make these hubs everywhere, like, And just like these stupid hubs, like they built one next to my airport, huge
Yeah.
hub. So the airplane comes right in, comes right to the warehouse, drops off their stuff, bam. And then there's like four DCs within like 3 miles of that with all those
Yep.
electric vans or whatnot. And then they have the
Yeah.
areas. I mean, they've got, I've been watching them for a long time, and Amazon is logistically,
You know what I
You,
saw for
you,
Amazon coming that they're talking about? So not only the drone mentality, they're actually
mhm.
talking about having vans that like pull into a neighborhood and then the top opens and the drones come out to go ahead and deliver all the packages and then the drones
whoa,
come back. So instead of having Mary jump out of the Amazon truck and go to your door and scan it, it's literally just pull into a neighborhood, swarm comes out, everybody gets all their
wow.
packages all at once in one day in your neighborhood or area and goes back in because of some of the concerns with like the blimp mentality and like airspace and all of that. They're looking at going this
Wow.
entirely different direction now.
I think I always love this hybrid model. You
Yeah.
you have to look at, like, you can't just have, end-to-end drone delivery, right? You can innovate in that space,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Well,
Or
we got
maybe
self-driving. Well, we
there
got
is,
self-driving cars. We got self-driving cars. So you can have your self-driving
Uh,
Amazon
uh,
truck that gets to your neighborhood and
mm-mm,
deploys your drones, and then
yeah,
mm-mm, nope.
and
Mm-mm.
delivers the pizza so you don't have to burn one.
Well,
yes, that's right. There you
the
go.
hey, where's my
That's
pizza?
right.
Oh, dog probably ate it by now.
That's
No,
right.
I
That's
mean
right.
it really is, man. I mean, but the air is definitely the future. It really is. The ground, the ground's getting overfloated with cars and people
Mm-hmm.
and houses and whatnot.
Yeah.
We have to go up. We have to go up,
Mm,
and it's really I'm super bullish on blimps. I think I'm
nice.
gonna go
I'm
buy a
not
blimp.
opposed. I think it's
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, cool. I think
I'm
we all jump in.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go. I hate to
Let's
fly, by the
grow.
way. I have yes. Well, I say LFG
Yeah.
grow, LF
Let,
grow. Yeah.
let's freaking grow.
Yeah. Wait, we
Creative,
way over
creative for
time,
sure.
bro. We
Yeah.
way over time,
We are
are we?
way over time. So, yeah,
Sorry. Yeah, my
4,881
bad.
people. Thank you for coming and watching
Uh,
us. These two gentlemen, we will keep bringing them and
yes.
we'll try to hack their time.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Have an
Anything
awesome
for you,
day and
sir.
thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Keep changing the
Take
world.
care.
Both of you.
Let's grow. Let's do it.